When my official husband Patricio slapped me to the ground while I was 3 months pregnant, all to protect his benefactress Noemí, after having blindly loved him for 8 years, I suddenly woke up. He calmly went to the hospital to abort the child, breaking the last tie with Patricio. A year later Patricio finally remembered me, his supposed pregnant wife. He came with bags full of gifts, wanting to see me and our child. He laughed, "You already divorced me and married another woman, why should I keep your child just to disgust myself?" Chapter 1. I have been reborn. 20ª century. He was reborn on the day my official husband Patricio gave all the money I had saved for having children to his savior Noemí so she could buy household appliances. When I saw a large television, a refrigerator, and a washing machine being carried into Noemí's house next door, I realized the money I had saved for children had vanished. Like lightning on a clear day, I went to find Patricio to get answers, but I saw Noemí tenderly nestled in his arms. Seeing my own husband so intimate with another woman made me tremble with rage. He stepped forward and asked Patricio where my money had gone. With Noemí still nestled in his arms, he replied sweetly, "I gave her the money to buy appliances." Looking at Noemí's triumphant face, I was absolutely furious. "How can you be so shameless? You don't earn money yourself and only think of spending other people's." Noemí burst into tears, her face covered in them, and Patricio's face turned red with anger as he demanded I apologize. He refused. Ever since Patricio transferred Noemí into the military district as his confidential secretary, everything had changed drastically. Patricio would help Noemí every chance he got. Buying rice and flour for her was commonplace. Whenever Noemí felt unwell, Patricio would rush to her side no matter the time, even in the middle of the night during a storm, if she showed up at his door with a blanket asking for company. As for me, his wife of 3 years, Patricio treated me like air. Anger and resentment filled my heart, especially when I saw Noemí brazenly falling into Patricio's arms right in front of me, challenging me. My fury only grew. "You shameless pair, steeped in immorality and illicit relations, I'm going to report you to the military district leadership." As soon as I finished speaking, Patricio suddenly stood up and slapped me hard. The slap sent me to the floor, my head slamming against Noemí's cabinet. Blood gushed out, and as I lay there, an incredible flood of past memories rushed into my mind like a tide. Chapter 2. It turned out Patricio not only spent the money I had saved for children on appliances for Noemí, he also gave her the house assigned to me by my unit, and no amount of crying or making a scene helped. Noemí was vile and despicable, always scheming against me. And Patricio, who always blindly believed her, after being deceived once again, used the excuse that his elderly parents needed care to send me thousands of miles away to his hometown to look after them. In the countryside I worked tirelessly, bearing children and caring for his parents, counting the days and nights in longing to reunite with him. Patricio kept advancing in his career but never thought of bringing me back. By the time his parents passed away one after the other and I went looking for him, I found I had no connection to him at all. We had become strangers ever since he sent me back to the countryside after our divorce. Shortly after saying goodbye, he rushed to marry Noemí, holding a grand wedding for her. They lived together in so-called eternal love, but because Noemí couldn't they have children, the child I had given birth to and raised with great effort became theirs. When I showed up at their door, aged and exhausted, Patricio avoided me and Noemí came to see me with my own biological child. This joy Noemí tossed a wad of cash at me like trash. "Roma, all these years Patricio has only treated you like a free nanny. I'm his rightful wife now, so go back where you came from." My own child said, "Mom, look at you now, you're no longer worthy of my dad. Take the money and leave. Ella send you some each month for your retirement, but just don't ever show up in front of our family again." My entire life had been a joke, used for the benefit of others. The man I loved treated me like free labor, and my own child despised me. In a fit of rage and despair, I coughed up blood and died. Past and present events alternated in my mind as I lay on the floor staring at Patricio and Noemí. Perhaps the hatred and fury in my eyes were too intense, because Patricio, who had been busy comforting the crying Noemí, finally deigned to look at me bleeding on the floor. Seeing my swollen face and bleeding forehead, he froze. At last he remembered I was a pregnant woman. It left the crying Noemí to come and help me, But hatred filled my heart and I used all my strength to shove away his hand. Get out. Chapter 3. Patricio didn't leave but instead helped me up from the floor. You're bleeding. I'll take you to the hospital for treatment. Didn't you hear me tell you to go? If it weren't for your nonsense I wouldn't have acted like this. I am furious, and this is your fault. First we'll go treat your wound, then we'll talk about apologies. Saying this, he held me firmly in his arms, ignoring my resistance, and prepared to take me to the doctor. At that moment Noemí suddenly collapsed softly to the floor. Seeing her faint, Patricio immediately let go of me and ran to her. Noemí. Noemí, what's wrong? Wake up. You know she can't be upset because of her heart condition. This is all your fault, he shouted at me before calling out loudly for the guard. Lucas. Lucas. Bring the car to the hospital right now. With his face full of concern, Patricio ran out carrying Noemí in his arms, and his guard Lucas quickly brought the car. Patricio climbed in with Noemí and ordered the guard to drive, completely forgetting about me, bleeding from the forehead. As the car roared away, I wiped the blood dripping from my forehead and staggered back to the house next door. Looking in the mirror, I bandaged my bleeding forehead and began silently recalling my past life. In my previous life, Patricio had hit me and ignored my bleeding just to fuss over the fainted Noemí. Filled with rage and hatred, I went to the hospital to make a scene, which caused Noemí to have a heart attack and be hospitalized for half a month. Patricio put me under house arrest. Because I was pregnant, he didn't lock me up but assigned a guard to watch me 24/7. That guard, named Lucas, was from the same hometown as Noemí and was on her side. Hypocritical and deceitful, he treated me rudely, giving me only one meal a day, 2 hard buns and cold water. By the time Noemí left the hospital, I was so starved that I looked like skin and bones. Lucas claimed I refused to eat or drink, and Patricio believed him. When he saw me, there wasn't a trace of comfort in his eyes, only scolding, telling me I was unrepentant and that if I wanted to die, I should just go ahead. He even warned me that a troublesome woman like me didn't deserve to be his wife, and if I kept causing problems, he would divorce me. Madly in love with Patricio, I was stunned to hear him talk of divorce. To avoid it, I no longer dared to make scenes. But my forbearance changed nothing. Noemí still came again and again to provoke me, flaunting how much Patricio cared for her and how much he liked her. Her words inevitably enraged me, and I ended up arguing with her again. Noemí set me up once more, falling down the stairs herself and accusing me of pushing her. She was hospitalized again, this time claiming the push had injured her womb and she could no longer have children. Chapter 4. He explained to Patricio that I hadn't pushed her, that she had framed me and staged it all, but he didn't believe me. He said I was facing prison for intentional injury. He was terrified, but then Patricio told me he had arranged things so I wouldn't have to go to jail if I returned to the countryside to take care of his parents. He said they'd bring me back after the child was born and everything settled down. He had no choice but to agree. The day I left, Patricio made me sign an apology agreement. I now know that so-called apology agreement was actually a divorce agreement, and after sending me to the countryside he married Noemí less than 3 months later, even holding a grand wedding for her. This trip lasted more than 30 years. At first, I planned to return to Patricio after the child was born, but then his mother suffered a stroke and became bedridden, requiring care. To fulfill Patricio's filial duty, I stayed. In those 30 years, Patricio returned only a few times to visit his parents, and he even took our child away, saying it was to lessen my burden. He only learned the truth on my deathbed. He had been treated like a free old servant for more than 30 years. Thinking of this makes my teeth grind in hatred. If I could do it again, let someone else be the old servant because I won't. Ella abort the heartless bastard in my womb, and if Patricio wants a divorce, ella gladly oblige. In this life I will leave that treacherous pair and live for myself. Since I'm leaving, I have to plan ahead. The money they saved for children was already given by Patricio to Noemí for appliances, so there is not much left in the house. But next month is Patricio's birthday, and I had prepared a watch as his gift. The watch can be sold first. This month's salary hasn't been paid yet, and I won't be handing it over. When I married Patricio, I had also prepared a pair of gold rings with great enthusiasm, but he found them childish and never wore them, so it's convenient for me to sell them now. By my calculation, I can still get over 1,000 yuan, enough for my abortion and recovery. The most urgent matter is the house assigned to me by my unit. In my past life, Patricio directly gave that house to Noemí. That won't happen this time. Ella sell it first and get the money. Chapter 5. With the watch and gold ring in my pocket, I headed to my unit without caring about the wound on my head or my appearance. Seeing me arrive in such a state, the leadership asked in surprise. "Y didn't they say much?" "Just told them, I need money now and plan to transfer the house assigned to me. Please keep an eye out, the price is negotiable." In my unit I was known as a kind person who got along well with leaders and colleagues, so the leader promised to help me find a buyer. He then went to sell the watch and ring. The watch was brand new and in use, and I happened to meet a newlywed couple who bought it for only 50 yuan less than I had paid. He pawned the ring 18 grams for just under 1,000 yuan. With the money from the watch and ring, I went straight to the hospital, seeking out the gynecologist to explain my intention. Patricio and I had been married for 5 years without children, which had worried me, so I often visited the doctor. The doctor knew me well, and seeing that I wanted an abortion, she earnestly advised against it. My mind was made up, but in the end she refused to perform the procedure. She told me to get Patricio's signature, since he was now a leader, and without it she could be implicated and punished. I didn't abort the child and felt awful. On the way back, I thought about how to get Patricio to sign. In my past life, Noemí had falsely accused me of pushing her and causing her supposed infertility, and Patricio had divorced me to marry her. In this life, I won't wait for her to betray me y take the initiative to make sure Patricio divorces me. Once the divorce is final, that ungrateful creature in my womb will naturally become nothing more than a pool of blood. Patricio came back at 9 at night. By then I had eaten, drank, washed up, and was lying in bed. Half asleep, I felt something brushing across my face from side to side, and an inexplicable wave of aversion and hatred surged through me. Without thinking, I raised my hand to slap, and with a sharp smack, my palm stung and I was fully awake. Patricio stood before me with a clear red mark on his cheek, obviously from me. His face was pale as he stared at me. "Roma, are you crazy?" He had known Patricio for 10 years, always treating him with kindness, consideration, and patience, so I understood why he was shocked at such a sudden strike. I rubbed my numb hand, explaining they'd just been asleep, dreaming I was being chased, unable to tell dream from reality, so I reacted, but naturally, he didn't believe me, and I had no intention of convincing him. Angrily, he said, "I only wanted to check your wound, and you pretended to be insane and hit me, Roma, Jove got guts." Looking at the finger marks on his face, I felt a flicker of regret. I wasn't pretending to be crazy. Had I known it was him touching my face, I slapped him a few more times. Seeing my silence, his irritation grew. "You fell asleep without waiting for me? Didn't they even make dinner?" He told him I thought he wouldn't be back, that he was probably having dinner with Noemí like usual. His face tightened awkwardly before he tried to scold me about earlier how they'd gone too far, knowing Noemí had a heart condition, yet saying such things about her. He met his handsome face with a cold stare. Once, I never tired of that face, but now, knowing what he would do, it only disgusted me. Trying to soften, he said, "Go apologize to Noemí Maru, and this will all be over." I asked what if I didn't, and when he claimed they made a mistake, I demanded to know what they'd done wrong. He had every right to ask for the savings he took without asking if it was a loan. It should be repaid, along with everything else they'd taken. My persistence made him visibly uncomfortable. His salary barely covered what he gave his parents and Noemí, so he used my money. When he reached to hold my hand tenderly, I pulled away and told him to make it clear helping Noemí was his business, but he had to return every cent of mine. In the past, I never objected, which made him take it for granted, but now I was serious. He tried, "Roma, we're one as a couple," but I cut him off. There is no such thing as being one in marriage when it comes to finances. From now on, if he wanted to return favors to Noemí, he could, but without dragging me in. He stared at me, asking what I meant, and I told him plainly each of us on our own. The sudden firmness unsettled him, and he argued about my duty as a soldier's wife to help people, accusing me of singling out Noemí. When I countered, he lost his composure, claiming again there was nothing between them, that he was merely repaying her for saving him. Ide heard it too many times to care and told him I only wanted my money back. He scoffed at the idea of returning a gift and accused me of being jealous. Ide tatid. He warned that if I kept causing trouble at home, they'd divorce me. In my past life, that threat terrified me, but now, knowing his love was never mine and always Noemí's, I didn't hesitate and agreed. My calm acceptance stunned him. He asked if I was sure, and I confirmed we'd divorce tomorrow but not before he returned all my money. He snapped about me being obsessed with money, and I told him yes. He accused me of thinking I could do whatever I wanted because I was pregnant, but I told him the child was no obstacle if he signed tomorrow, they abort. Shocked, he stepped back, calling me crazy, unable to believe I could say I didn't want the baby. My unwavering resolve left him at a loss, and he stormed out, slamming the door. Since then, he hadn't come back, and I couldn't care less. I just went to bed and kept resting. The next morning, I was woken up by a loud knock on the door. It was Patricio's guard, Lucas, standing there with breakfast and a look of obvious disdain. The boss told me to bring you breakfast, he said flatly. I didn't bother being polite either. Leave it there, I snapped. Lucas set the tray on the table, his eyes lingering on my face until I glared back. What are you looking at? Jube dropped off the food, now get out. They always been kind to others, never arrogant, which is probably what Patricio's guard thought I was an easy target. Especially Lucas being from the same hometown as Noemí, he was completely on her side, constantly undermining me in subtle ways. My sudden firmness caught him off guard, and then he got angry out of embarrassment. Bats with your attitude? Last night, out of jealousy, you kicked the boss out to sleep in his office, and now, after he went to all this trouble, you still don't appreciate it. I'm telling you, Roma, you'd better behave yourself and not make the boss mad, or you'll land yourself in trouble you can't get out of. Are you threatening me? Who do you think you are? Noemí is nothing more than a dog to you, and yet you think you're important? Jude better show me some respect, or I'll expose your dirty little secrets with her. The moment the words left my mouth, his expression changed, and he hurried out without daring to say another word. That reaction surprised me. They only meant to warn him because, in my last life, he helped Noemí go against me. But seeing him so flustered and afraid, could it be that there really was something shady going on between him and Noemí? He made a mental note to be cautious. After breakfast, I went to my unit, where the leadership told me that a colleague wanted my housing quota, but they could only pay 4,000 yuan at the moment. He knew housing prices would soar in the future, and 4,000 was a pittance, but I had no choice. The house was never going to be handed over cheaply to Noemí. I took the offer, pocketed the money, and gave up the quota. Since Patricio and I were getting divorced, I couldn't stay here anyway, so I quit my job. Thinking ahead 30 years, I quietly made my plan: either leave this place, head south, start a business, and be among the first to get rich. He was still lost in thought when I returned home, only to find Noemí sitting in my living room. She smirked the moment she saw me. Oh, the busy one finally made it back. What are you doing here? He asked coldly. I came to see you. Didn't Patricio beat you so badly you were bruised and bleeding? As your neighbor, I had to check in. She circled me like a vulture, her voice dropping to a furious hiss. Why don't you just die? Is this talk of divorce just some tactic? Do you actually dare to leave him? If you really divorced Patricio, the sun would rise in the west. Of course I dare, as long as you give me back my money. He told her plainly that I didn't care what she and Patricio did, but my money had to come back to me. And if I don't, she challenged. If you don't, you go straight to the military district and report your little affair with Patricio. Let's see how the two of you manage after that. Her face changed instantly. You boldn't dare. What boldn't I dare? Everyone has seen the two of you tangled up for the past 2 years. Patricio used his connections to transfer you here as a secretary, then gave you all our family's money to spend. You've been buying appliances, clothes, jewelry, and eating like a queen with my money. The neighbors see everything. If the organization investigates, your mess will be laid bare. Patricio was helping me. Don't you have hands and feet? Are you crippled and dying? He scoffed. There are plenty of people who need help, but he only helps you. A single man and a single woman, sneaking around your rey no different from thieves or prostitutes. Everyone sees it. Noemí's bravado faltered. What are you going to do? Yo ella ruin Patricio. I know. And what does that have to do with me? He laughed coldly. You have 3 days. Return my money, or both of you will be completely ruined. She left in a huff, tossing back a threat as she went. He was ready, my blood boiling. Sometimes, you have to poke the snake to make it strike. Let her make the first move this time, we'll see who falls faster. The next 2 days were calm. Patricio stayed at the military quarters, clearly waiting for me to come and apologize. Not that chance. He was too busy handling my own affairs. Since we were splitting, I wasn't about to let him and Noemí profit from anything they contributed. He sold everything I could from the house, and whatever gold they be sold, I gave away. I handed Ana, the instructor's wife down the street, all the new clothes they bought for Patricio, including the sweater they knit for him. She was so grateful she stopped me to talk. Has your officer been back lately? She asked. He shook my head. She gave me a sympathetic look. Roma, you're a good person, but good people get taken advantage of. I won't say much, but I don't want to see you treated like this. That Noemí is no good, Joe. They better be careful. I know. I don't care anymore. They can do whatever they want, it has nothing to do with me. But you're pregnant. For your child's sake, you have to think of yourself. Even if you bend and sacrifice, it don't mean they'll leave you in peace. Her words hit me hard. In my last life, I bent, I sacrificed, and still, they betrayed me. Y nadie. Thanks for the reminder, Ana. Y ella, be careful. A cornered rabbit will bite, and a person pushed to the edge will fight back twice as hard. If they push me again, I won't make it easy for them. When Ana saw that I understood, she lowered her voice and warned me to be careful with Chief Wu and that guard Lucas, because their relationship with Noemí wasn't normal. The moment I heard it, I pressed her for details. What exactly did she mean by not normal? He admitted openly that Lucas was no good, always taking advantage of my patience to help Noemí harass me. Hearing that, Ana's expression grew more serious, and she whispered that Lucas and Noemí were having an affair, something she had seen with her own eyes. Her words sent a chill straight through me, and I instantly recalled the night they threatened to expose Lucas' dirty dealings with Noemí and the panic that flashed across his face. So it was true, Lucas and Noemí really were involved. Hadn't Noemí been interested in Patricio? Why get tangled up with Lucas too? When I asked Ana why, she said she didn't know, only that she had personally seen Lucas leaving Noemí's house late at night, more than once, before she ever noticed Noemí trying to cozy up to Wu. They thought not at me. In my previous life, Lucas had always protected Noemí, twisting facts to hurt me, and Patricio's mistrust of me had been fueled by Lucas' scheming. They never understood his motives until now. So Lucas was another of Noemí's pawns, acting out of devotion to the woman he desired. That would certainly explain his loyalty to her over me. After Ana's warning, I began keeping a closer watch on the two of them, and it didn't take long to spot something suspicious: Lucas sneaking into Noemí's place at night. Maybe a couldn't yet prove they were lovers, but a single man and a single woman meeting in the dead of night was never innocent. The memory of my helplessness and humiliation from their past betrayal reignited my fury. He decided they'd pay for it. I grabbed a pot and a stick from my home, marched to Noemí's door, and started banging loudly, shouting for everyone to catch the thief. The clanging was deafening in the still night, and neighbors quickly rushed over, curious and alarmed. I pointed at Noemí's house, claiming they'd gotten up to use the bathroom and seen someone sneak inside. It had to be a thief. No one doubted me, least of all Ana, who immediately rallied the instructor to block the back window while the rest of us crowded the front door. Finally, after a tense few minutes, the door opened, and there stood Noemí and Lucas. He made my voice cry, so it was Lucas. What business did he have there at this hour? Stammering, he muttered something about needing to discuss an urgent matter with her. Urgent enough to wait until 2 in the morning? Ana pressed the point, and Noemí hastily denied any romantic involvement, claiming Lucas was just worried about her health. No one bought it. Someone even teased that if they were dating, there was nothing to hide. Noemí glared at me with pure malice while continuing to deny everything, and Lucas echoed her, insisting it was all concern and medicine. Patricio eventually arrived to break up the crowd, and as soon as her reinforcement appeared, Noemí switched to sobbing, accusing me of slandering them. Lucas piled on, and Patricio turned on me, his face dark, scolding me for wasting my time with such nonsense. I coldly shot back that they simply seen suspicious behavior and acted out of concern, and that if Noemí's well-being was so important, it was curious no one but Lucas ever visited her at night. That hit its mark, their faces paled, and even Patricio's eyes narrowed with doubt. Noemí immediately collapsed in a fake faint, forcing Patricio to rush her to the hospital. As I turned away, I caught the unfiltered hatred in her eyes. She knew I had the power to destroy her if I exposed her and Lucas, and I knew she would soon try to silence me. But that was exactly what I wanted. Luring the enemy into striking first was always the most satisfying game. Chapter 14. It was already clear what happened last night. Lucas was genuinely worried that Noemí might have a heart attack, so he went to check on her. They have no relationship beyond that. Y es needed. Whether they did or not, it wasn't my business. You didn't come here just to tell me this, did you? He asked. Of course not, Patricio replied coldly. Roma, don't you think you've been behaving unacceptably lately? To attack Noemí, you tried to defame her by claiming she had an inappropriate relationship with Lucas. Have you thought about the damage that could cause to a woman's reputation? He laughed incredulously. When have I slandered her? He only saw someone sneaking into Noemí's house and assumed it was a thief, nothing more. If Lucas was really just worried about her and wanted to see her, couldn't he have knocked on the door openly? Why act like a thief? Patricio, still defending Noemí, said, Lucas didn't want to disturb the neighbors, so he didn't knock. He retorted, and you, watching Noemí in the middle of the night instead of sleeping, what exactly are you trying to do? I warn you, I haven't settled accounts from last time. Don't cause me more trouble. Patricio slammed the table in anger. What kind of attitude is that? Don't you realize your scandal sent her to the hospital? And you haven't admitted your mistake. I stood my ground, I'm not wrong. If there is a mistake, it was marrying you. Don't want the divorce? Fine, we can divorce right now. You can be with whoever you want, but before the divorce, you must return my money. Patricio thought I was the same submissive Roma as before, focused only on him, so he dared to shout and look down on me. I wouldn't stand for it. Want to cause a scene? Let's see who ends up looking ridiculous. I raised my voice, tears streaming down my face. Ibe worked hard for years saving money to prepare for our child, and you gave it all to Noemí to buy appliances. The last time you took my salary without telling me and gave it to Noemí for clothes. Before that, you gave her my salary for cosmetics. My voice was so loud that Patricio, pale-faced, came over and tried to cover my mouth. He bit his hand, he didn't expect it, and released me in pain, pushing me away. He fell to the floor, causing a huge scene. Patricio once called me a loud, irrational woman. Today, I would show him exactly what that meant. Lying there, I shouted out all the terrible things he had done. Patricio couldn't stay, quite wouldn't let him. He left, face pale. The unit comrades and leadership had been quietly listening and felt deep sympathy for me. Several married female colleagues came to comfort me, discreetly asking about Patricio and Noemí. In my past life, I cared about my reputation, swallowed my pain when abused, thinking family problems shouldn't be public, and I didn't want people to look down on me. In this life, I no longer want to stick with Patricio or cover for his shame. He told everything about Noemí and Patricio. He knows soon all the rumors will spread everywhere. We so much gossip, I want to see if Noemí will be driven to desperation. Chapter 15. That night, after work, Patricio unexpectedly was home. He sat in the living room chair with a gloomy face, bandaging the hand I had bitten. He walked past him as if he weren't there and went straight to the bedroom. Patricio had never been treated so coldly before. Whenever we argued, It never took 2 hours before I shamelessly went to reconcile, whether it was my fault or not. These days of silence had passed, and after biting him, I had no intention of backing down. Patricio sat outside for a long while until he finally couldn't take it anymore. He opened the bedroom door and asked, "What's for dinner tonight?" "Eat whatever you want." "Why are you asking?" He replied coldly. "What kind of attitude is that, Roma? Haven't they even talked to you about being bitten? Why that face? And how are you going to make it up to me for hurting me?" He answered sarcastically. Patricio was speechless. He looked at the wound on my forehead and paused. "It wasn't intentional. He already apologized." He sneered and turned my head. He stayed in the doorway a moment before patiently coming in. "Ella take you out to eat. What do you want?" "Eat what?" "Better pay your debts, you owe me a lot." He held out my hand. Patricio's forehead veins bulged. He looked ready to explode but somehow held back his anger. "Roma, I know you're angry with me for helping Noemí. I didn't consider your feelings, it was my fault. I promise it won't happen again." He looked at Patricio like he was a foreign planet. "What do you mean?" "I talked to Noemí. From now on, she don't have to come to me with her problems, she can go to the guard instead. She saved me before, I got her a job, and helped her a lot. That's enough, I won't handle her matters anymore. Let's live our lives in peace." Those words sounded reasonable, but who knows if they were true? I didn't believe them. Patricio helped me up. "Let's eat out. You know you need money, from now on, I'll give you my entire salary." I don't know what he was trying to do. I had never seen such a kind and considerate Patricio in my life. Patricio took me out to dinner. On the way, we ran into Noemí. Her eyes were red, and seeing Patricio and me, she staggered as if the wind might knock her down. She looked very sad. Patricio didn't care for Noemí like before. He pretended not to see her and walked straight with me. We hadn't gone far when I heard Noemí's voice calling me from behind. It sounded like she had fallen. Counting to 3 in my head, I waited. 1, 2, 3. Patricio turned around and ran to Noemí without hesitation, just like before. He smiled with relief. A dog can't change its habit of eating feces. This saying is absolutely true. Chapter 16. I didn't intend to eat dinner, so I went home alone. Patricio returned very late that night and tried to open our bedroom door, but I had locked it. Patricio couldn't get in, so he went to the guest room. In the morning, I woke up and Patricio got up too. He bought breakfast and smiled at me as if nothing had happened, saying, "I bought the bread and soy milk you like." He sat down to eat without expression. Patricio tried to explain, "Noemí is very ill, she has severe anemia." He put down my chopsticks and asked, "Who are you trying to disgust so early?" Patricio was surprised by my cold attitude, moved his lips, and I immediately said, "Don't talk to me about irrelevant people or things I am not interested, they affect my mood." Patricio wanted to get angry but held back and still tried to explain, "Roma, I can't ignore her, she saved me. If it weren't for her, I'd already be dead. Over my life." I heard those empty words too many times. He put down my chopsticks and said, "Who you want to help is your business, I don't care. You don't have to keep saying you owe your life to her. If it's really so hard to choose, then marry her. I'm ready to go with you to the registry office anytime." After saying that, I got up and left. Patricio stayed sitting, staring at my back. I don't know what he was thinking. What he thinks doesn't matter to him after all. Before this, in my past life, he had already ignored and abandoned me like this. At night, after work, Patricio came to pick me up at the unit. He bought ingredients and cooked dinner himself, but while cooking, he realized many things were missing. The pots, plats, and utensils I bought with my money had disappeared, leaving only what Patricio had purchased himself. He said, as if discovering a new continent, "Roma, it seems many things are missing from our house." Yes, there were too many things we didn't use, so I took some and gave them away. Is that so? I didn't believe my own words much. After all, What I gave away were new or almost new items. How could they not be useful? During the meal, we didn't talk, only the sound of cutlery clinking. I kept my head down and didn't say a word. Patricio was watching me the whole time. I could feel his gaze but didn't respond. Finally, he couldn't help but speak first. Roma, why aren't you wearing your wedding ring? He slowly drank half a bowl of soup before saying, I sold the wedding ring. Why did you sell it? Patricio asked, surprised. Why? Why didn't I know? He smiled ironically, because I'm short on money. I have no money and I need it. Nobody is kind enough to give me money, so without money, all I can do is sell the wedding ring. My words left Patricio speechless. I knew how much I valued our wedding ring. After we got married, I always reminded him to wear it, and he always refused, saying it was uncomfortable. At this time, only I, ridiculously, wore the wedding ring I had prepared for myself. He moved away from the table and stood up to go to my room. I hadn't taken many steps when I heard Patricio's voice behind me. When I get paid, I'll buy you a new ring. I let out a sarcastic laugh without turning my head, and he continued, Noemí has a really weak body, says not fit for the army. He talked to her and we planned to send her back to her hometown to work, so she'll be closer to her parents and relatives and easier to take care of. Patricio's words made me turn my head. Did she agree? Patricio nodded. She agreed. Noemí is understanding. She also feels he's bothering us too much and said she'll find a chance to apologize to you and clear things up. He smiled enigmatically upon hearing that. Patricio continued, Roma, honestly, I only feel gratitude toward Noemí. He never had romantic feelings for her. If my previous help made you misunderstand, I'm very sorry. Forgive me. It won't happen again. He just looked at Patricio with a smile on my lips. Patricio felt a bit irritated by my gaze. Roma, she has already agreed to leave here. She'll be busy with the job transition these days and said she'll find time to explain things to you. I hope you can talk with her calmly. Noemí wants to meet with me to talk in detail, which is good. I've been waiting for this day for a very long time. He smiled and said, okay, tell Noemí I'm willing to see her anytime and anywhere. Noemí came to see me 3 days later. I couldn't wait to meet her. Noemí still looked so fragile that a gust of wind could knock her down, but once she closed the door and made sure it was just the two of us in the room, she completely changed. She looked at me with hatred. Roma, you're a despicable woman. Are you satisfied now that you finally can throw me out? Of course. Seeing you leave with your tail between your legs like a stray dog makes me very happy. When I finished speaking, Noemí's face turned pale. You set a trap for me by suggesting divorce to force Patricio to get rid of me. You're shameless. He underestimated you. You don't just underestimate me, I have many other things you don't know. Do you want me to explain them to you in detail? He looked at her smiling. I know about your affair with Lucas. I know you have your eyes on Patricio and want to seduce him. I know you're plotting against me. Did you come today with many strategies prepared? How do you know? Noemí was surprised by my confession. Her arrogant attitude disappeared instantly and she began to stammer. Don't worry about how I know. Now let me guess what you're going to do next. You plan to fall and accuse me outside. Lucas is already waiting. He plans to rush in when you scream and then testify that I hurt you. He stepped closer smiling at the pale Noemí. So hurry up and fall, scream for help. I'm waiting for your performance. Noemí didn't dare move, looking at me fearfully. He grabbed her hair and slammed her hard against the nearby table. Noemí opened her mouth to scream but a rag was already almost forced into her mouth precisely and firmly. He grabbed a brick I had prepared beforehand and repeatedly hit Noemí's belly with it. Didn't she falsely accuse me in her past life of pushing her and causing her to lose her uterus, preventing her from having children? In this life, I am indulging her by letting her fulfill her wish. He struck Noemí's belly fiercely again and again. He saw her face distort and change color, saw blood flowing from beneath her. Only when I saw her fall into a true coma did I release Noemí. Then I raised my voice and shouted, "Someone come quickly. Something has happened." Lucas was the first to run in and without looking started shouting, "Intentional injury? How can you hurt Kamrat Noemí like this?" You are too cruel. Smiling, I looked at Lucas and said, don't delay, take her to the hospital quickly or she might really not wake up. After all, she has had massive bleeding from the miscarriage and losing the baby may mean her uterus can't be saved. How do you know? Lucas was astonished. Don't worry about how I know, listen to my advice and take her to the hospital. If you don't hurry, she could die. You don't want people to know you're the father of the baby in her womb, right? Lucas, pale and trembling, lifted the bleeding Noemí and took her to the hospital. I followed them as well. Noemí's uterus could not be saved, it was removed just like in the previous life. During the entire time, Lucas stayed outside the operating room with a pale face. I stood with my arms crossed, watching Lucas while laughing. After several hours of surgery, Noemí was taken out unconscious. He asked Lucas with a smile, aren't you going to inform your boss? Now that Noemí is in this condition, your boss must be very worried. Why don't I stay with Noemí and you personally go inform Patricio? Lucas didn't dare inform Patricio and knelt before me with a thud. He looked coldly at Lucas and said, are you scared now? Why weren't you scared when you were enjoying yourself with Noemí? And you still want to blame me to get away with it? You're dreaming too much. Lucas kept banging his head against the ground until the skin broke, and I looked at him coldly, despising this vile and despicable person. Only when I saw his head bleeding did I slowly tell him to stop for a moment. What do you plan to do about this? Ella make Noemí leave here, I promise you will abandon her intentions and never bother you or the boss again. Really? He laughed a little, no, how could they leave? Noemí can't leave, I beg you. Lucas tried to keep banging his head but I raised my hand to stop him. I have a way to make her wishes come true. When I returned home, Patricio was still cooking in the kitchen. For these 3 days, it was as if he had become another person, preparing dinner every day. Seeing me return, Patricio smiled and said, give me 2 minutes, the food will be ready soon. He poured myself a glass of water and drank slowly. Patricio was busy setting the table. He served me a large bowl of rice, eat more, pregnant people have more appetite, in the future you should eat 2 bowls. Without saying a word, I took the bowl and began eating silently. Patricio served me food carefully. After eating more than half a bowl of rice in silence, Patricio finally spoke, so. Roma, did Noemí come looking for you? Yes, she came looking for me, I nodded. What did you talk about? We didn't talk about anything. He kept eating. Patricio, not getting the answer he wanted, asked indirectly, did she tell you when she's leaving? You have to ask her that, I don't know. After I said that, Patricio showed a somewhat stiff expression. He kept eating with my head down. He knew Patricio had looked for Noemí but hadn't found her. If you can't find someone, naturally you won't know what Noemí told me. He's worried about that, which is why he came looking for me to get information. To be honest, he really is worried about Noemí. What a pity. He sighed inwardly. Outside, the sound of a car was heard and soon Lucas rushed in shouting, Boss! An incident has happened. Comrade Noemí has had an accident. Patricio jumped up and I also put down my chopsticks and looked at Patricio. Patricio didn't look at me, his gaze settled on Lucas, observing Lucas' injured forehead. Patricio's expression turned extremely serious. What happened? Lucas didn't dare look at me, lowered his head, pretending to wipe away tears. It's very serious, her uterus was removed and now she's unconscious in the hospital. Boss Comrade Noemí, it's really tragic. Patricio heard Lucas say that with disbelief. How is this possible? How could something like this happen so suddenly? Boss. You should go to the hospital to see her. After Lucas finished speaking, Patricio began walking and when he reached the door he coughed and stopped when he heard my voice. Roma, I'm going to the hospital to see Noemí. Ella be back soon. He looked at Patricio word by word. Patricio, have you thought this through? Roma, now is not the time to act impulsively. Noemí has had an accident and is unconscious. He must go see her to understand what happened. Since Patricio had made his own decision, he was no longer under my control. I nodded and didn't stop him further. Patricio left and didn't they return. He washed up and rested peacefully. Before sleeping, I checked my money. I only had 5,000 yuan. With this amount, it was still far from enough to go south to do business. The next morning, I woke up startled from a dream, opened my eyes, and Patricio was already beside the bed. He grabbed my shirt collar and lifted me off the bed. What a cruel heart you have, Roma. How can you be so cruel and shameless? Why are you doing this to Noemí? She was ready to leave. Why can't you leave her alone? Patricio grabbed my hand tightly, making it hard for me to breathe. He scratched his hand hard several times and only then did he let go. Roma, you have disappointed me greatly. You've done something so atrocious. Prepare to go to jail. He said nothing, just looked at Patricio indifferently and waited for him to finish his outburst before asking, don't you want to hear my explanation? What are you going to explain? You did something so terrible to her, caused her so much harm. As a woman, don't you understand the pain of not being able to have children? You make it impossible for me to forgive you. Well then, don't forgive me, Patricio. If I'm wrong, let them imprison me. You're stubborn. Completely stubborn. Don't you feel even the slightest bit of guilt or remorse right now? What fault does Noemí have? He shouted at me for quite a while until he was exhausted and stopped. Roma, what are you going to do now? That's your plan? Let the police handle everything. If you leave it in the hands of the police, you're finished, Roma. This is a crime. Yo ella be convicted. Fine, then convict me. I'm not afraid anyway. You're utterly stubborn. Patricio kicked the chair in anger. He hit the wall several more times, and I watched him coldly, waiting for him to speak first. In the past life, he was also the one who proposed the divorce, and in this life, it should be the same. As expected, Patricio calmed down after venting his anger. Roma, I don't want you to go to jail, you know? I don't want you to go to jail. Neither do I. Nadie. This time, you're wrong and must admit your mistake. Go find Noemí and sincerely apologize. And then? Usted apologize? He asked. Of course not. You hurt Noemí. It's serious. You can't just do nothing to make up for it. How do I make it up? First, go hide out in the countryside for a while. Ella calm Noemí down. Hide for some time, and when Eve calmed her, ella bring you back. Using the same words as in the past life, he didn't they mention divorce. He asked me to sign a letter of apology and return to the countryside to care for my pregnancy until everything was settled before coming back. I couldn't help but laugh. Alright, I promise. Chapter 21. Patricio's apology letter came quickly for me to sign. He knew it was the divorce agreement and signed my name without reading it. Patricio breathed a sigh of relief when he saw me sign. Roma, pack your things, I'll take you out. He nodded. I don't have money. Can you give me my money? Patricio promised, and I don't know where he got it. Maybe he borrowed it. Anyway, that night he brought me 2,000 yuan. He hid the money well in my pocket, and the day I left, Lucas cheated me out of another 3,000. This was the money Noemí originally tricked Patricio into taking from me, and now that it returned to its rightful owner, I accepted it without burden. The day I left, Patricio was supposed to take me back personally, but something came up and he left me stranded. That was fine. I never intended to return to his village to work like a donkey. Since the marriage was over, the abortion issue was much easier. He went to the hospital to get rid of the unwanted fetus. After a month of recovery, I took a car south with 10,000 yuan. The days struggling alone abroad were painful but happy. Living for myself allowed me to give my all. I wasn't afraid of suffering or exhaustion. I just wanted to make money. After a year of hard work, I finally managed to get my own shop with my skills. At the wholesale market, I met someone I knew before a fleeting encounter. She was a distant cousin of Patricio's from his hometown. Patricio's distant cousin was very surprised to see me. Roma, what are you doing here? Did you know Patricio has been looking for you for a long time? He looked silently at Patricio's distant cousin. She told me Patricio's mother had an accident and needed care due to paralysis. Then I called Patricio, and he learned that I hadn't returned to his hometown. Patricio's distant cousin asked me, "Why did you go south to do business?" He smiled faintly. "Didn't Patricio tell you about this?" "Ask him, he'll know better." "And your child? Has he been born yet?" "You remember you were pregnant at that time, and Patricio said when you left, you were already several months along. The baby died." "It's gone." Patricio's cousin widened her eyes. "I was busy attending guests and didn't continue chatting with her." "I didn't expect Patricio to find me." One night after finishing work, Patricio suddenly appeared. It was holding a bunch of bags and called me with the same warmth as before, "Roma." He looked at him indifferently, and he smiled. "I heard you were here, Roma. Why did you come here without telling anyone?" "It was hard for me to find you." "Why are you looking for me?" "Did you marry Noemí? You should live happily ever after." "Why did you think to look for me?" Exposed by me, Patricio blushed, even felt embarrassed. "Roma, I didn't mean to deceive you. It's just that at that time Noemí was in such a bad situation, and she insisted it was your fault. I didn't want you to be imprisoned for you and for the child in your womb. He had to take this desperate measure, agree to divorce you and marry her. I didn't intend to marry her, it was only temporary. He just didn't want to see you imprisoned, didn't want you to suffer." He couldn't help but laugh. "Patricio, do you think I'm going to believe your words? Do you still think I'm the same fool as before?" Patricio's expression changed over and over, and for the first time, he apologized humbly. "Roma, I'm sorry. He was wrong. He really was wrong. Oh Laik, if you came to apologize, I accept it. As for whether I accept or not, that's none of your concern. Go. Roma want to see our child. He bought a gift for the child." Those words made me laugh until I cried. Patricio looked at me confused. I laughed for a long time. It really seemed ridiculous to me. Finally, tired of laughing, I said, "Patricio, where do you get the confidence that I would give birth to your bastard?" Chapter 22. Patricio's face changed from red to white in a funny way, and I kept laughing. "How will you think divorcing me to marry your beloved Noemí while I, knowing nothing, give you children, perpetuate your lineage, care for your parents, and become your lifelong servant? Don't you think you're too shameless?" "I'm not. You're that kind of person, don't deny it. Otherwise, why would you marry Noemí? Why would you be so anxious to get rid of me? Why did you wait more than a year to contact me after I left? If you had a bit of conscience, you wouldn't have abandoned a pregnant woman, right? Let me guess why you came looking for me. Judging by your appearance, things can't be going well for you. After all, boss Wu always goes out with his guard. Where is your loyal guard, Lucas?" Patricio couldn't say anything, and I kept laughing. "You picked up trash Lucas already used and treated it like a treasure. Now you're paying the price, right? Do you know why you ended up like this? Because I reported you. You left a letter for your competitor when I left. Was it you? Was it really you who reported me? Why? How dare you ask me why, Patricio? Do you think I left, deceived by you and unaware of everything? Brontes was all planned by me. At this point, I have nothing to hide. I want to see the disgusting expression on Patricio's face when he learns the truth. Lucas and Noemí wanted to hurt me. Lucas and Noemí had an affair. When Noemí saved you, it was fake. It was Lucas and Noemí who teamed up to deceive you, aiming to get Noemí a good job. They didn't expect you to actually fall for Noemí's game. So they changed plans at the last minute. Patricio's expression started to change. I know now he feels deep pain. You fell in love with Noemí. Something so disgusting and dirty didn't deserve a high position, so I gave you a great gift. Knowing Noemí deceived you, knowing your position would be affected, you hurt Noemí and Lucas, leaving them disabled, and so you also lost your job. He took a deep breath, looking at Patricio's pale face. This was a big gift I planned for you a long time ago. Do you like my gift? Patricio turned pale with anger at my confession, and I kept smiling while raising the stakes. You married trash no one wanted and treated it like a treasure, then lost your chance to get promoted and make a fortune because of that trash. Now you dream of coming back to me thinking I will give you children. What do you base that on? The size of your face? Patricio got up furious to hit me, but I wouldn't allow it. Is hitting me. Help! He shouted, and while screaming I kicked him hard in the crotch. Patricio doubled over in pain, and the people around heard my cries for help and came over. He accused Patricio of harassment, and soon kind people took him to the police station. Patricio was once a successful man, but now that is disgraced, no one sympathizes with him. He was fined, reprimanded, and detained overnight, leaving with his head down. He lost his job, lost everything, and on top of that, his mother had an accident. Patricio still wants me to remain his servant. He thinks I love him and that he can deceive me with sweet words. But having lived another life, how could I jump back into the fire? Patricio didn't leave. He was always here watching my business thrive, even planning to make me change my mind. In the end, heaven couldn't bear it anymore. One rainy night, a car broke his legs. Patricio became disabled and will have to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. This is his punishment. I used to ask people to make me go see him. He refused. I've already seen his fate and am satisfied, there is no need to upset myself again.